guys, it's Rachel here. So I wanted to talk a little bit about why I started making my own dog food. Cookie, come here, come here. So this is my girl, Cookie. She's about 10, we believe. She's a rescue. And I've had her for just under a year, and I noticed that within probably like the last 3 months of her being on dry dog food, she was actually getting really sick. And it was bad. She was up all night. She never got a full sleep. And there was a few times where I woke up and it actually sounded like she was gonna barf, like she was trying to barf, and it like scared me so much because I was like mid-sleep, like, oh my god, she's gonna barf all over me. But thankfully that didn't happen, but it got so bad to the point of me, I'm essentially like doing this to my dog because I'm feeding her this food. Now the food that I was feeding her, it was roughly $100 for a 25-pound bag, and it was like no byproduct, no dyes, no grain, I believe, and supposedly like primo dog food that you pay a ridiculous amount of food for, or ridiculous amount of money for. And yeah, I just felt so bad and guilty because I knew she wasn't getting better. Every night, every time, probably around midnight, you could hear it. She was starting doing like this licking thing, and I looked into it, and it's actually called GERD, and apparently older dogs are more likely to get this. And part of my thinking of why she has this is, before me, she had been fostered by a couple different families, and the person who had her before me put her on like this no-name brand grocery store dog food. And pit bulls in general, they're actually very sensitive to grains and just bad food in general. So I think from going, like, her stomach, she went from really good food to really shitty food, and back and forth, and I think that kind of might have had something to do with it. Now, GERD is like just heartburn. Pretty much it's just heartburn. And people, you don't know how far you'll go until you see, your pet in so much pain, right? So I could go spend, I was doing everything. I was giving her Pepto-Bismol, I was giving her slippery elm bark, I was doing all these things just to try and have her sleep through the night. So anyways, what I'm trying to get at is I did a lot of research, and I watched a lot of YouTube videos on DIY dog food and what would be best and all blah blah blah. So I got a recipe. I actually started following Judy Morgan. I believe she and her husband are both vets, and they both cook for their 4 small dogs. And yeah, so I started off with a recipe. For her, I could tell that she didn't really do well with chicken, like even with dry dog food with chicken in it. So I decided not to do any chicken. I pretty much we do beef, chicken liver, or beef liver. We do butternut squash, rice, blended carrots. We do kidney beans, celery, and I started making my own calcium powder. It's pretty much just grounded eggshells. You bake them and you make it into a powder. So that is very high in calcium. What else do I put in there? I put in fish oil. Every day I give her a glucosamine glucosamine pill in the morning. And I put flaxseed in there. What else? So the thing with her is I noticed that she's very sensitive. I don't know if it's because of her age. It could be because of her breed. And I noticed, like, even if I give her like bread scraps or like just like crumbs or something, she will actually be really sick. So I'm really hesitant on to switching things up and adding things to the recipe. Like, if it works, just keep it that way. So I changed one thing in the recipe once, and I, instead of putting kidney beans, I put chickpeas in there, and I put apples in there too, and she got really sick. It was like as if she was eating dry dog food again. So so this is what happened, how I knew that she was doing better. So the first 3 days she was kind of sick, but you could tell she was sleeping better, and she was doing better, she looked better. And then probably about a month in, her hair grew all the way back in. Her eyes, like the whites of her eyes are really white. What else? When we would go on long walks, she wouldn't be really tired the next day and like be sore the next day. She loves to run now, like she's running all the time. What else? Oh, she sleeps through the night. That's another thing. She sleeps through the night. She doesn't get up, which is great, because that was like a big thing. I mean, it was waking me up. I have to be up really early in the morning for work, so to be up every hour with my dog, like fearing that she's gonna get sick or she could be puking or something like that. So for her to sleep all through the night is awesome, which means I sleep through all through the night. So that's great. She lost a little bit of weight, but she's lean right out. Like, this is actually a senior dog, and she looks as if she's like a puppy. So that's another thing. And and I give her lots of coconut oil, like a lot of coconut oil. And I notice, say if like she gets treats from somebody or anything new in her diet, and I fear that she might have a little bit of irritation from it, I give her that slippery elm bark. Now this is natural. It's pretty much a natural Tums. Like, I was giving her Tums, but I was kind of, if there's a natural way of giving it to her, then I would obviously rather go that route. It's kind of hard to find, but if you have a natural store near you, I'm sure they'd have it, and it's pretty cheap. It's like $7 for a little bag, and you don't need very much of it, and you just mix that in. I was mixing it in with coconut oil, and within like 20 minutes she would go to sleep, and she would sleep through the night. Now I'm thinking about doing a video on how I make the dog food. I usually, when I first started out, I got one slow cooker, but I noticed that, I don't want to be doing this every week. Like, who wants to be doing that every week, right? So I bought another slow cooker, secondhand, because whatever, I'm not going to go spend all this money on like a slow cooker that I'm basically just using for my dog. I already have a good one. So I bought one for like $10 at secondhand, and what I spent is, I spend a little bit less money than what I was on dry food, but the time and stuff, and like, the time, the effort to go get the stuff, it probably equivalent is the same, if not more. You definitely do spend more time putting this together, right? But I've gotten down to a system, so I'm able to do it quite faster, and then with two slow cookers, I'm able to have, I think I get maybe like 16 meals with the two of them. So yeah, I do this once every 2 weeks, or I'll do it once every week, and I'll try to get ahead, and then I stock up my freezer, and then I don't have to worry about it for a little bit. But what I do is I buy I buy meat, pretty much like family size meat, and if you buy more, you get a little bit of a deal. And yeah, I just chop it up, and then I buy the liver, and I chop it up, I measure it, and then I'll freeze it, whatever I don't use. So then I always have extra meat for whenever I go grocery shopping next, and then I can use those ingredients so they don't go bad. And I also started doing vegetable stock, so at the end of the week, all my veggies that are about to go bad or are like pretty much about to go bad, I'll do veggie stock, and I've been starting to use that veggie stock in her slow cooker, so she still gets all the minerals and vitamins and all the good stuff from that stock instead of just using water, right? Which is fine too, either way, but this is, you know, then I'm not wasting so much food and all that. But yeah, so that's my experience of doing DIY dog food. It's worked very well. You know, I was thinking about going raw, but the price of going raw, and I don't know if she's gonna do very well on raw food. I already know she's not good with chicken, and so I was kind of iffy on it. You know, the food that I make is essentially human grade food. This is something that I cook. I know exactly what's going in it, and I can measure all that. And you know, people say like, oh, your dog is not getting all this, you know, dogs need other things, blah blah blah, and that's true, but she is not a working dog. This is a senior dog, and I can just tell, like, you don't need to be like super smart to know that she's doing better. You know, you can see it in her fur, everything. You know, she doesn't. And before, I noticed like she would stink. Like after like a week and a half or 2 weeks, she would stink. And because I was living in an apartment at the time, or I mean because I like live in a house with lots of carpet, I'm always washing her. I bathe her like once a week, once every week and a half. But I noticed, like, say if it's like 2 weeks, she doesn't stink. Like before, she had a smell to her, and I swear it was the dry dog food. And dry dog food, like, working in the dairy industry, I've seen so much that I never saw before or I never knew before. And you know, they say that they test all the animals and stuff, but just telling you straight up, they do not send healthy animals to the slaughterhouse that then all that meat goes to the dog food. Like, they don't send healthy animals there. Like, that's just how it is. So, like, it's just, I don't know. I could look into it more, but I don't really want to. I mean, she's doing great. Like, everybody that had seen her before is like, oh my god, she looks so healthy. And she is healthy, you know? And she loves it. Like, when it's dinner time, she goes crazy. It's like her favorite thing. So, yeah, and she'll eat, she even eats the vegetables. Like, people think that dogs don't eat vegetables, which is total not true for her, because she loves butternut squash, like raw butternut squash. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know. I might do a video on how to cook it, well, how I cook it. But Judy Morgan, she has lots of stuff on her page. And yeah, okay. Cookie, come here. Cook. So this is her. You can see. See how toned she is? She's still toned. Oh, hi, girl. Hi, my girl. Hello. Yeah, so we're going to get ready to have some dinner. But yeah, okay. See ya.